What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Outspoken, the show where we talk real, stay bold, and call out the stuff nobody else will.
And today we're talking about a psychological landmine wrapped in a hug. Emotional floodlighting. You know, that thing where somebody treats you like a therapist 5 minutes into a coffee date?
Right? Like, hey, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. And they're like, cool. I was abandoned as a child and haven't felt love since 2004. But like, bro, breathe, chill.
Breathe.
Just met.
Well, we're unpacking why people do this, where it comes from, and why it might be the reason some of your relationships feel like a crime scene. Let's get into this. All right, welcome back to Outspoken. Before we get started, make sure and smash that like button, subscribe to Outspoken, and share the show with everyone you know. Hit the bell icon to get updated when we upload a new episode. We're going to do some emotional tomfoolery here in relationships.
All right, so for the uninitiated, floodlighting is when someone overshares too much, too fast, trying to force intimacy. They don't build trust. They just bulldoze it, bro. You know what I mean? It's like an emotional fireworks with no warning, and there's like the kicker. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's just anxiety. Sometimes it's trauma, and, you know, sometimes it's manipulation dressed up as real feeling. We don't know what it is. So let's just say that. Do you blame people for it? No, absolutely not. There is trauma in people. Let's say it. I mean, we've all seen it. We've all had it. You know, when you're first on a date, I don't think that's the first thing you want to do. You want to kind of just start off like trying to get to know someone.
The worst thing you can do is vomit your entire past on them in the first 5 minutes.
Right. It's not just like I'm being open. Here's my full trauma file, bro. Right. And now you're stuck holding it. What do people expect? Like from that first initial meeting? Like, do you want them to like go away? There's so much to unwrap there. Let's be honest. We've all seen it, right? I'm sure you've had people that lay things on you initially. You know, that friend that has trauma dumps on strangers, or someone that, you know, we know that person, right? The date who turns the dinner table into like a therapy session. It's exhausting, bro. For example, you know, we've been best friends for a long time. It's not uncommon for you or I to discuss something that's happening in our life, that's current, and even just connecting it to maybe some past trauma. But that's just you and I. We've known each other. We know kind of like our background, where we come from. We don't have this, like, we have to fill the gap still on top of that. Like, right. I don't know you. Here's my trauma. All right. And go. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to do that. It's invasive, you know, and it's just not intimacy, bro. It's an emotional cornering. I don't know. I just don't know if it's healthy for a relationship. Relationships are hard enough as it is, bro. And I think if you're going to do this floodlight on someone, first of all, let me just tell you, that term is funny as heck. I'm trying to keep up with these like Gen Z terms and
you know, the new terminologies.
Yeah, bro. I had a hard time trying to remember like the millennial ones, you know. Oh, that's fire. And I'm like, what's on fire? You know what I mean? Like, you know, what are you talking about? Where did this term come from? Where did floodlighting come from? You know, and I think it's important to know because it kind of gives a background to like what we're looking at.
Well, one of the things, so Psychology Today did basic definitions of what floodlighting is, right? So floodlighting is sharing overly intimate and often highly emotional details too early in the date. Someone can floodlight you to force a connection or test whether you will accept their flaws. So everybody loves to be tested in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So floodlighting can also be a way of getting you to reveal personal information or use you as a therapist, which I'm a cheap therapist, I guess you would say.
Right.
You know? So
what you're saying is floodlighting isn't some official clinical diagnosis, right? It's more of a like street smart psychology, which everybody's a street smart
100%.
Right?
Yep.
It should up in
back alley psychology.
And, you know, with all these self-help gurus on online now, you know, you have these self-help circles. People come up with these terms that connect with today's youth. You have these great therapy sessions on TikToks, right? That they know, you know, so much about it, and forums where people are finally calling this stuff out. It's funny because it's like almost every trend that you see on the tickety talk or on Instagram or on X, something happens to somebody or someone's videotaping some crazy trauma stuff happening at a restaurant with a couple, and then it goes online and it becomes a trend.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, these back alley psychologists and therapists come out of the woodwork saying, well, in my reviews and studies, this has been, you know, and so everyone's a doctor. everyone's a self-help guru. Everyone's Tony Robbins, and you get to this
Right.
point where like, okay, look, I get what you're saying. To me, it's just funny, bro. You call it floodlighting. We're literally borrowing this from lighting, and I get the connection. Like you have a light, a simple light. Most of us don't carry flashlights, right? But you and I, we're these really survivalist kind of people. Most people, like, if you have a flashlight, what do they do? Pull out their iPhone, turn on their little light, right?
So yeah, we have tack lights.
Yeah. So I get the term floodlighting because you're not just lighting this up, you are flooding them, bro. Get the dam. You're like popping it open. All of a sudden, it's just boom. There's no shadows.
Right.
There's
no escaping it because there's floodgate open.
Exactly. It's like an intense exposure, but doesn't illuminate anything healthy. So it's like those overexposed pictures when you had the Polaroids, remember? They come out, it just flooded everything and you never saw the picture. It was overexposed. And that's, I think, how they came up with that term. And I get it. I get the point of it. I don't think it's healthy. I mean, what do I know, right? I mean, I'm a divorced dad. I mean, I don't.
Let me share a
do,
story with our audience here. So this is years and years ago. I won't give too much of the detail because if she watches, I don't want her to be embarrassed. No. So this is a friend of mine, never a dating friend, girlfriend, really cool. She just went through this rash of a bunch of guys that were just not cool. But anyways, she can never stick with anybody, right? One date after another and things weren't going right.
Yeah.
And a lot of first and maybe second, possibly third dates, and then that was it. And we talked about this on one of our last episodes, ghosting, right? She would get ghosted. So anyways, I told her, I said, hey, let's go grab dinner, pretend we're on a date, and this is the first time you met me, and just start telling me about, whatever you would talk about normally. Bro, no joke. We go to dinner.
Yeah.
And, we start kind of small talking. I said, all right, the date starts now. So you start telling. She goes into ex-boyfriends, problems that she had at home.
Bro, we all had that.
All kinds of stuff. And I'm like, cut. This is not going to work. Like, guys don't want to hear about you may want to know about the guy's previous relationships. Like, why did you break up with her? Why did she break up with you? Because you're sensing these red flags and things in there. Guys don't want to know about your previous relationship because the guy doesn't want, guys are competitive.
We don't need numbers.
We don't need numbers, and we don't need to know that we're competing with one or 50 other guys, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really
or them mention a trait that we might have too. You know what I mean? Let's be honest, it happens. Yeah. But so
he really, I just couldn't stand. He really liked tacos all the time.
You'd be like, oh damn,
this isn't gonna work out.
Yeah. He was so annoying. He was such a Cowboys fan. Oh baby Jesus.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
So close,
so
close.
So what is the problem with floodlighting? All right, let's get brutally honest about it. Floodlighting feels like an emotional ambush because that's what it is, right? You're not prepared for it. You're going to dinner. You see this chick. You're like, we're going to have our first date. It's going to be cool. Right. We're going to relax. We're going to just talk, get to know each other because, that's what you do when you go on a date.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I felt in that example I gave, I felt hijacked, dude. Like if I would have truly been on a date with her, I was like, what's going on with this? It's almost like somebody's opening up. You want to feel like it's going to be honesty, but it feels super forced, right?
Yeah.
It feels false that somebody's putting so much information. And then you're in the back of your mind, you're going, why is this person telling me all this stuff?
Right. Or this is too complicated for me.
Yeah, this is way, especially on date one, man. It just,
You're like, I didn't sign up for this trauma TED talk. Right, I don't remember something of this, but yet there you are holding the mic, right, while she's sobbing into a napkin, and it's so uncomfortable. You're sitting there like, your dad's a jerk. But I love my dad. Oh, okay. I don't know what to say then.
Gosh.
But here's where it gets dangerous, though. People mistake this for vulnerability, right? But real vulnerability has boundaries. When you become vulnerable to somebody, you have boundaries to that because you don't want to be too vulnerable, especially people who've been hurt in the past. They feel like they're opening themselves up to get hurt again. It's earned, right? This is it's all this is like an intimacy cosplay, bro. It's all it is. It really is. Let's call it what it is. But the fact is, it also sets people up for like emotional hangovers. You and I will go out, we'll get away, we'll go out there and come back, and then we have to work early the next day. We're like, I wasn't feeling it. But we have that like, just tired. I'm like exhausted. Yeah. That's how you feel when someone dumps like their trauma on you.
Absolutely.
Right? Or especially if they start the day with like, oh my God, my parents made such a big deal because I told them to watch my kids and blah, 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 just to come out on this date. And they've been doing this. And so I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself?
Yeah.
But
One of the things
you feel drained.
oh yeah, you do. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things, and we've all met these people that you'll start talking to them, and they may tell you a couple things about themselves, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I didn't need all that, about, and then they start talking about their neighbor down the street, their cousin, and then their cousin's wife and their wife's friend that lives in Kentucky, and it's like 5 stories removed from anything that you want to know about, right? Those kind of things make you want to walk away. When people are dropping all of their emotional baggage on you,
Oh yeah.
it makes you want to walk away too. And like you said, like you and I, we could go hang out. Oh man, today this sucked and this
Yeah.
sucked. And it's different for us because we have a difference in a relationship
Well,
that
but we have a
and we
relationship set, you and I.
right. And we know, we've known each other for so long. You meet somebody in the first date over, I don't know, Cold Stone Creamery or something, and you're telling them about all your exes in Texas and everything else.
Whoa,
man,
whoa, whoa, bro!
it ain't gonna go right.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're absolutely not wrong. But the problem is, it sets a trend in that relationship. Where you're just all you're doing is trying to control these dumpster fires that kept getting thrown on you. And so it already negatively impacts a relationship. And like we said earlier, dude, relationships are difficult as it is today, right? Because first off, you don't know if you're dating a girl or a guy, you can't ask those questions, right? And it's just there's a lot of things happening, there's a lot of stress.
Yeah, because if in all that you're some kind of phobic, right? So I mean, geez, Louise,
you can't go to get some Cajun chicken because then you're like racist, right? Or you're just I don't know.
Oh my
bro.
gosh,
there's always something going on in relationships.
Yeah.
So the good thing
just
about
to let everybody know, most everybody likes Cajun chicken. So
I love Cajun chicken.
I don't think any one race can hold capture of Cajun chicken. Just saying that. So
Louisiana, baby.
Final answer.
But so it's very dangerous. It's a dangerous tread to fall into, and it's a dangerous one to continue, right? So people need to understand that we're not therapists. You have a date now. You build that trust though with somebody, right? You get to the point where you could trust somebody with a little bit, and you want to test the waters, right? If you start talking to someone about a little bit of some trauma, and they kind of like change the subject or don't give you eye contact, you're like, cut that out. Right? Just stop it. And that might not be the person for you. Like if you're either looking for a companion, someone's going to hang out with you and you're going to enjoy your times that you have free, or you're looking for a therapist. Either way, you're going to lose money in it, right? Because you have to invest a little bit in it. So,
bro, over the years from when you and I worked together 100 years ago, people that I had to terminate back then, all the way up to, the most recent times, you get kind of like, you feel bad for folks, but you kind of build this block wall, right? Where you
build calluses.
It's just the job you have to do.
Yeah.
Never could I ever get past it. Is if it was a female and you were letting them go and they started crying. It was always the worst.
I did?
No, me.
Oh.
Like it was always the worst.
Oh yeah. And then they dump you with like, I have kids at home and their dad's absent, and you feel guilty. And you do. And so but then you look at that and you put it in the bubble of a relationship. Are you trying to make someone feel guilty into romancing you? I don't know. It just seems weird to me. I'm sure you, like you said, that was a friend that you mentioned that you talked about, but I'm sure, bro, you had girls in the past that have dumped on you. I am sure 100% because you and I have talked about it, and it's not my place to throw this dirt out there. So I know you've dealt with it. I've dealt with it. At first, you kind of you write it off as like maybe she just feels comfortable with me. That's where the problem sits, because when you allow them to do that the first time, they're going to do it again and again and again. And before you know it, like I said earlier, you're going to be just trying to extinguish these dumpster fires.
Yeah,
everywhere.
And you become backyard therapist,
bro. Or an alcoholic.
Or both. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's whatever. Here's what we need to look at. How do we spot these things? How do we spot that floodlighting? Right? So let's talk signs. How do you know if someone is floodlighting you or if you're doing it? So here's a few. They drop deep trauma bombs early on. Deep trauma bombs, bro. Not like, oh my God, I couldn't find parking because it's crazy Karen. That's not a trauma. We're talking deep trauma bombs, right? Early on. That happens, bro. You're like, red flag number 1, right?
Yeah, like I was adopted and then I was molested by my stepparents.
You're right.
And that kind of stuff. It's like,
I don't trust men. Hey, I don't trust men, but I do trust them on Tinder. That's why I'm here. You know what I mean? Get out of here. Get out of here. So, or here you go. Another one. You feel emotionally hijacked or obligated. You're right there. If someone dumps all these things or tells you something and you feel like, oh my God, I'm drained. I'm like, now I feel like I have to continue this. I have to engage in this and ask her why or what happened or how you feel. You know, like,
Right.
dude, flag number deuce, right? Deuce right there. All right. So what's another one? They try to make you match their level of openness. And let's be honest, bro, guys, we are not open. We are not an open book. We're not going to volunteer anything, bro. And even if you ask, it's almost forced. And you know this, right? You're like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. No. And we're not. But that's another story. That's flag number tres. Number 3. I'm sure Starbucks has a name for that in Spanish. Try or tres. I don't know what it's called. Anyway,
yeah, that's a venti problem.
Yeah, there you go. Then the next one, you leave the convo feeling more like a crisis counselor than a friend or date, bro. If you feel that way, do not call back. Do not do right. You know me. Do not go past go. Go straight to jail. Do not do it.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Right? You're gonna get caught in some emotional roller coaster, which you are not prepared for. Which you as if you're
didn't
a guy
sign up for.
Yeah, right. Didn't sign up for. And if you're a guy, you have your own traumas that you're not dealing with, right? And if you're a woman, you definitely don't want to add on to the more traumas that you have at home if you have children or whatever the case is, right?
Well, here's the thing. For me personally, I would say for both sexes, it's an unattractive trait, right? Because I would say, and obviously we're not women, right? We don't identify as them either. Women, I would imagine that's an unattractive trait for a mate, for a guy to be like that and dumping all kinds of stuff. Because we've talked about it before.
Can you imagine a guy at a dinner and he's crying? You know, if I was a chick, I'd be like, I'm going to the restroom.
She's sitting there. Yeah, she's sitting there like, oh, he's definitely not paying for dinner. He's going Dutch.
He's going
Dutch all the way. This guy.
I'm gonna have to ask him if he's on hormone therapy. Also, I need to know.
Oh my gosh,
were you a woman?
do you have an emotional support cat, dude?
All right. So here's the thing: if you're the one doing it, you got to ask yourself: am I sharing to connect or to control? We have to be honest, because are we trying to control that other person's emotion? Like if you're in a date, you don't feel like you're connecting, and then you just start dumping emotional traumas after another, because you want that person to budge. You want them to show emotion, a connection, a feeling. Why are you doing it? Is it because you want to share expecting nothing in return, or are you sharing because you want to control the situation and kind of get one of those gotcha moments? And, don't beat yourself up, guys. There's a lot of people who floodlight out of pain. Pain doesn't give you permission to have to throw emotional guts on the table without warning, right? You're just like, here's my trauma. Bleh. Right? It's just all over the table. But real connections, you got to pace that vulnerability, man. You can't just be like, I'm an open book. Because the guy's thinking, that better not be the only thing that's not open. I want everything open. You know what I mean? And then you're going to have more traumas. You're just going to add trauma above trauma above trauma. Right? And I think that's the last thing we want to do is add trauma to your trauma. Right. And a guy, I'm telling you, as a male myself, and I'm sure you agree 100%. And I think women also feel the same thing. When that happens, we shut down. Like, man, we kind of shut down. We're kind of like, hey, you okay? Let me get back. And then we're going to try to get out of that situation as quickly as possible, because we don't want to be part of that. Yeah. We're like, to us, it's like, dude, that's too much going on. And a guy will never come up and tell you, I got these emotional problems going on. But if they feel that you got too many, he's going to say like, I'll call you. And you'll never get a call again.
Well, you know the deal. I text 111, you know that the date's going bad. You are in my phone as work and you give me a call. Oh yeah. Oh man, I got to go in. Oh man, this is over.
Hey, I'd be calling you, be like on the phone and be like, you better get back over here. Get over here. You're like, oh no, serious stuff happening. We just got flooded.
Yeah. Right.
But you have to agree, Jay. I mean, that floodlighting is like, look, man, we say it in a very light way in this episode, but the reality of things is that it's a real thing. People do that. It's sad because I personally, again, I'm not a therapist, right? I don't ever claim to be one. I'm a realist, right? And so
you're a man of the world.
Whoa, bro, that sounds kind of like weird. I don't know what you mean by that, but I don't know if I want to be that. And I'll never claim to be a therapist, but if your intentions are good and you really want to focus on connection, that's not the way to do it, right? That's a way to push someone away. And maybe you need to look at yourself a little bit and say, like, hey, this trauma is really affecting my outlook in life. And I need to kind of curve it, or maybe just not be so blunt or so open in the initial
Right.
date. Wait till like the third, fourth, fifth date, or maybe even when you give it up a little bit. What I mean? I'm just saying, don't judge me. It's 2025, Jay. All of a sudden,
All of a sudden.
all of a sudden you're frowning upon the premarital sex. We do not condone it, but it happens. All right. So
yeah. Not saying you should do it, but
we ain't
if you
blind to it
do,
either.
yeah. So there are some alternatives, right? Like Joe was saying, if you know you're sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, that's totally me.
Mm-hmm.
I do vomit tons of information about my past and personal life to people on the first date, first meeting. And this doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, doesn't have to go for even dating, right? This can be just for you meet people, because I've met people like this, man, that are pretty open with a lot of stuff in their life right away. So one of the things first is obviously to build trust.
Mm-hmm.
As time goes on, you build trust with somebody, right? To make sure that that is felt reciprocally between the two of you, and then you can start building up. With that being said, share in doses. Don't word vomit of all kinds of.
You mean don't treat it like a boil where they come onto your table and just dump it?
Oh man,
the
shrimp boils.
Yeah. Don't do that.
See, here we go with Cajun food again.
Why are we always talking about food?
What's going
bro?
on today?
Our metaphors are always food. Damn, fatties.
So just remember that vulnerability is a slow drip, not a fire hose. So make sure that you're coming in with all your good intention, not with every nickel of your intention all at one time.
And you're right. And here's the thing. And here's the problem, Jay. And you know that 99.9% of issues that happen today, I'm talking about today, comes from social media platforms. Because we live in a culture.
Amen, brother.
Amen, baby Jesus. Because we live in a culture that rewards rawness over regulation. Social media made trauma like a branding tool, bro. So you go viral if you cry online. Like if I'm there weeping, you're gonna go viral. Not if you heal offline, though. You got to make this known to the world, bro. So, and all people now mistake oversharing for being real. So they do it because it's something that they see on the tickety talk, or see it on X, or they see it on Instagram. All they're looking at, you see this video, and they're looking at the likes or the views, right? They're 1.2 million, and they're like, oh, let's monetize that, baby. And so now they're putting all these traumas, right? Like I saw this video of this lady that was baking a cake. I'm baking my birthday cake because I got divorced in my blah blah. And I'm like, baby Jesus. But people are liking it and they're viewing it, and people love that. You know why? Because they forget about their traumas for that moment, and they're focusing on someone else's. I don't know. Like I don't dump my entire emotional history on people. It's just not my thing.
No.
Most people say it's like, do you even have emotions? I do, but I share them with the people that I feel are going to be that help and not hinder my emotional dump.
Right.
You know what I mean? As men, we are more likely not to, right? Because we're men than women are. And there's absolutely, now clearly we should get away from that habit. That's just a reality of it. I think that outside of social media, because people tend to create this reality based on social media, but they're two distinct things. Social media, there's a lot of false stuff going on in social media, right?
Yeah,
you have conservative people putting liberal stuff on there just to get negative responses, just to get likes and to get views and monetize their. It's just a web of lies, bro. There was this show I used to watch on Discovery ID. I love murder shows and stuff like that with my coffee in the morning. And there's this one called Web of Lies. It's almost the same thing. They're doing the same thing just to get views. But they don't understand that these tickety talks are being watched by kids. And they grow up thinking, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get views. It doesn't work like that in the real world. You don't get views in the real world. You get shamed in the real world. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're like, get out of here. And I think that's a problem, that we need to really realize that you're not doing anything positive to help yourself. What do I know? I'm just a Mexican.
Especially online, it's emotional manipulation disguised as openness. People are being open and what's going on in their life, but they're manipulating other people emotionally, just like you said, for likes and for thumbs ups and whatever the website of the day or social media platform of the day, whatever they
Right.
use for their positivity.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. I hate to even bring their name up because they've been shamed, but they were
Say.
very popular. Was the Kardashians, right? For many years, they were super popular. And why were they popular? These rich, super entitled chicks that were always just depressed and pissed off at everything in the world. Nothing was going right for them. Everything was a disaster. You girls don't work, and you have this unlimited amount of money coming in. Your younger sister starts a cosmetic line that wasn't special, wasn't an amazing cosmetic line or anything, but because you had so many followers, she became the first billionaire or whatever, at her age. And good for her. I'm not knocking them at all. The average person can't do that without that kind of popularity and everything. And what made them popular? Grief, depression, all these things that it was, just like soap operas and stuff like that, right? That just always have drama. And it really, I mean, Jerry Springer. Remember the Jerry Springer show and all those kind of things. Yeah. I love the fights,
Jay, you are not the father.
You are not the father. Guys like, yes!
The Osbournes. I mean, it was all about just different stuff. And that's the society that we kind of created. Let's talk about keeping this real. So if you're tired of those fake connections, right? Tired of being overwhelmed by people's mess, this is your permission slip to build a slower, healthier relationship with people, right? Real intimacy isn't built by floodlights, guys. We got to slow that down. It's built like candles, right? One flame at a time, steady, warm, intentional. We've used that word before here in our podcast.
That was poetic, Joe.
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, I am very kind of a loving guy, bro.
You're a tender-hearted boy.
I am a tender-hearted person. Unless you start talking about the Cowboys, right, or anything else.
Oh yeah,
then
it goes
violence, bro.
Then you'll see.
Then I go Mexican domestic violence. All right, there we go. I'm gonna say it. Here, right? But you know what I mean, though. If we're gonna talk about lights and we're gonna use that connection of floodlighting, let's be honest. Let's start it with candles. One little flame at a time. We've used that word before. Intentional. We have to act and behave intentional, right? Meaning that this is what I want to do. If I want to build a relationship, a strong relationship based on trust and openness, it has to be intentional. It can't be fake, right? It can't be like, I'm going to throw this and dump them and see what I get out of it. You can't do that. You can't test people that way because people react to those things very differently, right? So we need to light a candle, put the floodlight down, right? And for the love of boundaries, stop trying to trauma bond your way into people's hearts, bro, because that's not going to work. Could you just imagine you and I, bro, we double date, we go on, and then these girls just trauma dump us. I'm not going to have like a connection to that. I'm not like,
oh no,
I'm gonna be like, bitch, you should have handled your shit differently. You know what I mean? Like, you the problem. You know what I mean? And it's just because as humanity, we're judgmental. We shouldn't be, but we are.
Right.
And that's unfortunate because that's the way we are. I just think, guys, hey, let's slow it down. And I'm not just, when I say guys, I mean guys and girls. Let's slow it down. Let's get away from that floodlight. Let's be intentional with what we want out of a relationship, right? Let's stop basing relationships on information you get on Tickety Talks or on X or in the Instagrammy. They're not reality-based platforms. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to know what true love is, what a relationship is, go read the Bible. Right? There's a lot of examples in there. If you want to know how to raise your child, I don't know, go read Dr. Spock. He wrote some good books on raising children. I mean, there's other platforms that are not associated with attention. They're not based on popularity and things like that. You need to get away from those types of behaviors that you see on social media platforms. I don't know.
I don't think anybody really, again, what I had said earlier, most women are not going to want to hear a guy dump all of his emotional baggage, right? He's going to come across as weak and she's not going to find him attractive.
Yeah.
And then guys, again, we don't want to hear all the stuff because immediately what's going to happen. So tell me if this has happened to you at least once, right? We've dated people in our lives, right? And you've went through nonsense with a female. You get out of that. Later on, you have a girl talking to you about all these issues and things like that. And what does it do? It sparks that nonsense that you dealt with in the past with somebody else, you haven't given this person a chance and you've already written them off. That's already red flagged and everything. And everybody's different. People handle situations differently, right? When it's new and fresh and everything's of the unknown in the beginning of a relationship, and when you're talking and stuff like that and just getting to know each other, it's very easy to write somebody off because you have trauma in your own past that you're like, this reminds me of that. Yeah. This conversation's reminding me of that. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Most of us have pretty full lives.
Busy
we
lives.
We can say we're busy. The word full is really good because everybody says, oh, I'm busy all the time. And they're snacking on you get a call on the cell phone and it's like, what are you doing? Oh man, I'm really busy. And they're sitting there eating chips and watching.
All right, bro. Now you're going into
Netflix.
Now you're going into an area that's very offensive to me. Like eating snacks is very busy work. All right, so you got to prepare them.
There's a lot calories of takes calories to make calories, man.
Whatever.
The biggest thing is just to know that relationships take time. Most people have their own traumas to deal with and stuff in the past, and don't bring it up right away. That stuff can say, or at all. Yeah, some of that stuff can. There's some things probably people don't want to hear until it's.
Or you spook them away,
serious in a relationship, right? I mean, you guys all darn well know there's stuff that you would never tell anybody in your life what you did. This relationship stuff, it's like you just spill it all out there. So it's kind of crazy. It's like pick your battles on that. Yep. So don't be a halogen floodlight. Be a nice candle.
There you go, brother. Brah. So if you're a floodlighter, maybe chill a little bit, guys, right? Or at least bring some snacks next time before you go unpack your childhood trauma at brunch, bro. That's all I got to say. And at least let me finish my omelet before the emotional breakdown, right? Don't ruin my lunch. Don't ruin my brunch because now you're really going to piss me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have time for your daddy issues until after my bacon. All right? My avocado toast.
If you start crying into your bowl of gazpacho, dude, it's done. The date is done. Yeah.
You killed it.
If you got invited for gazpacho, the date's over.
You're done. We're done.
You're done.
I can't even spell it.
I can't. Yeah. I don't even.
All right,
I probably didn't pronounce it right. So
whatever.
Hey, listen, before we get out of here, make sure and smash that like button, subscribe to Outspoken, share the show with everyone you know, and hit that bell icon to get updated whenever we upload a new episode. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you all take care of one another.
And remember, do better and be better.
And as always,
God bless America. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
See you next Tuesday.